Hello everyone, welcome to Any Pluto. Let's start the video. Our story starts with Mukai, a high schooler who has as of late begun dating Saki. His cherished companion Mukai is a reliable sweetheart who won't hesitate to freely communicate the amount he adores his sweetheart, yet on one specific evening a charming young lady admits to him she is Nagisa, and she's been planning for a really long time for this admission by working on herself consistently. Inside and out, Mukai at first oddballs her, yet the more he becomes more acquainted with Nagisa, the more he begins to like her. With Naga's assistance, he accepts they can persuade Saki, his ebb and flow sweetheart, to allow him to date the two young ladies. He then acquaints the young ladies with each other, and they put several hours hanging out together and getting to know one another better. When Muka requests Saki her thought process from Nagisa, she answers that she really sort of believes should date her since she's so adorable. Mukai tells her that he totally comprehends and does everything that's known as a genius gamer move by gruffly saying to his sweetheart that he needs to transparently date the two young ladies. She punches him and declines, and keeps on denying again and again. Regardless of how much Mukai argues, Nagisa at last participates and asks alongside him. In the wake of being worn out, Saki hesitantly consents to add Nagisa to their relationship. Them three move and together in light of the fact that anime rationale, yet they all concur that Mukai will do nothing disgusting with either young lady, which appears to dishearten Saki. He even goes to the extent that idiom that he will have his masculinity precisely cleaved off to ensure no fooling around, except for I don't know anything could truly slice through his enormous balls. After their most memorable evening living respectively, Nagisa begins to have an uncertain outlook on her place in this unusual new relationship. She chooses to glance through Sakia's telephone to get to know her better, yet all she finds in her program history are inquiries regarding how to stimulate your bow or what to do on your most memorable time on her confidential Twitter. Anyway, Nagisa sees that Saki tweeted about how Nagisa is caring and charming and how she might want to draw nearer to her soon thereafter. Prior to going to class, they concur that they need to maintain their bizarre relationship mystery. When they're out openly to achieve this, they need to profess not to know Nagisa, but rather when Mukai sees that she has no companions at school, he endeavors to uncover everything about their relationship just for Saki to stop him. At each event, they at last concur that they're not being reasonable to Nagisa, so they scan all through the school for a spot to eat together in private and ultimately settle on the exercise center extra space. Mukai attempts to punch his direction into the exercise center, yet flops hopelessly, while Saki simply moves through the window rather while eating. Together, Saki understands that Nagisa and Mukai do all the cooking and housework, and that she's not actually bringing anything significant to the relationship. She fears that on the off chance that she does nothing, Mukai will before long favor Nagisa over her. Frantic to dazzle him, she slips into Mukai's room around evening time and attempts to entice him, yet when he serenely dismisses her, since it wouldn't be reasonable to Nagisa, she misconstrues and presumes that her boobs are excessively little to satisfy him. Upset, she runs back home, yet fortunately she resides right nearby. Mukai doesn't rest for the following 3 days as he attempts to get Saki to converse with him about why she's so disturbed. He attempts to pay off her with cakes, adorable felines and pups, and even many dollars worth of gacha pulls, which he burns through all without getting a solitary 5-star. When none of the payoffs work, Nagisa chooses to help Mukai by fooling him into grabbing her while Saki watches. In a desirous fury, she jumps over to his home, where she is presently caught and compelled to defy him. She concedes that she feels substandard compared to Nagisa and that she's burned out on Mukai thoroughly taking care of them without requesting anything. Consequently, Nagisa shockingly concurs that Mukai is a lot for themselves and says she likewise wants to support him. Mukai understands that by not allowing his lady friends to do anything for him, he was truly being childish. Sometime thereafter, the young lady's security exaggerating a web-based game together, yet it would appear Nagisa is genuinely terrible at it. She even bombs wretchedly and unintentionally kills Saki, yet rather than blow up, Saki is glad that she's better compared to Nagisa at something for once. Needing to improve by watching ongoing interaction recordings, Nagisa chooses to watch a decoration known as Milika. Mukai sees their school uniform and her recording's thumbnail and understands that Milika goes to their school, and I'm almost certain you definitely know where this is going. During lunch the following day, a peculiar young lady moves into the extra space. Mukai panics and coincidentally lets the cat out of the bag about him double-crossing Purpose and Nagisa. He then, at that point, attempts to get her quietness, yet the young lady rejects. Rather, she prods them by taking steps to spread their mystery, yet Nagisa uncovers that she knows the young lady's actual character. She is Rika, the popular decoration known as Milika. They consent to keep quiet, yet Mukai tells her that regardless of whether she educates individuals concerning their mysterious, he won't enlighten anybody regarding hers. Rika understands that they're shockingly great individuals for a lot of misfits and concludes that she needs to go along with them as Mukai's third sweetheart. As a general rule, she just needs a sweetheart in the event that her fans start following her to persuade Mukai. Rika lets him know how astonishing she is with her extraordinary body and large boobs and says he must be a simpleton not to date her, and Mukai truly concurs. In spite of this, Mukai is focused on his two sweethearts and denies Rika's advances, while leaving Saki erroneously uncovers to Rika that every one of them three are living respectively, and when they get back the following day they find Rika set up camp in their lawn. She guarantees Mukai that she won't leave until she makes him fall head over heels for her, and he inquires as to whether that implies she anticipates remaining perpetually. The following morning, Rika asks Mukai in the event that he's dazzled by her assurance, yet he tells her she ought to return home and shower. Rather, she utilizes a sack loaded up with water to shower in their patio, showing that she has no expectations of truly leaving. The young ladies start to stress that Mukai could truly succumb to Rika if this keeps up, so they put on bathing suits of their own to tempt him. Nagisa slips and falls onto him, incidentally squeezing her boobs against his face, which prompts an envious Saki to attempt something very similar, yet her boobs are too little. In the end, Mukai cheers his sweethearts up by promising to invest more energy with them and less time stressing over Rika the following day. Anyway, Mukai is anxious to dispose of Rika on the grounds that he's concerned he may be excessively frail-willed to oppose her extraordinary character. When Rika passes on to utilize the washroom at a close-by store, the young ladies dispose of all her stuff, yet even without her effects, Rika still will not leave. Her dad unexpectedly shows up and says he's been searching wherever for her. While prepared to safeguard her, Mukai coincidentally uncovers that Rika is a decoration, and her father freaks out at the possibility of his girl uncovering her regular ability online. He attempts to erase her station, yet Mukai meddles before he can and lets him know that there's something else to Rika's recordings besides her boobs. At that point, Rika falls head over heels for Mukai and chooses to leave so she can have an opportunity to think. Sometime thereafter, Saki returns home to get a difference in garments. While conversing with her mother, Saki becomes worried that on the grounds that Mukai is too obliging and smart, he won't ever take action on her, yet her mom consoles her that her adorableness can stir the man in him. She gets back to Mukai's home, yet this time in a rabbit suit that is excessively huge for her. In the plot region, she bounces onto him and he inadvertently snatches her chest while attempting to prevent her dress from falling. The following day, Nagisa finds the rabbit young lady suit in the clothing bin and contemplates whether maybe Mukai is into cosplay. She chooses to put on a housekeeper outfit of her own and asks Mukai his thought process with a serious look all over. He advises her to have a go at calling him ace. She does, and he totally cherishes it. He cherishes it such a lot of that they use the remainder of the day pretending as expert and worker, and he in the end even says that he maintains that her should wear that maid outfit for him once per week. A couple of days after the fact at school, Mukai and Rika meet to talk. He advises her that he is at fault for all that has occurred up till now, and that if she has any desire to rebuff him, she can take embarrassing pictures of him and put them online. He's in any event able to dress in drag, assuming essential, yet Mukai's ungainly effort to apologize just makes her adoration him more. She says thanks to him for saving her streaming station and takes off, unfit to deny her affections for Mukai any longer. She confesses to herself that she's enamored with him, which is heard by Saki. Some time elapses and Rika barges into Mukai's homeroom. She admits to him before the entire class and hauls him to the exercise center extra space with his two lady friends following not a long ways behind. Shino, Saki's closest companion, additionally covertly follows along. Rika tells Mukai that she can't quit pondering him night and day, yet when she understands that her words aren't contacting him, she precipitously kisses him before his two sweethearts prior to leaving. She lets the gathering know that she has no expectations of joining their bizarre relationship and on second thought needs Mukai all to herself. Shino hears this and understands that Saki is overall too coordinated. After school, the two young ladies are discouraged that Mukai's most memorable kiss was with another young lady. Saki even ventures to ask God how she could have merited this. Experiencing brought upon her yet after an opportunity to reflect, they verified that Rika's kiss didn't truly count, since it had no feeling. They conclude that when Mukai kisses them for genuine, it'll be the point at which he simply needs them so seriously that he have no control over himself any longer. Mukai apologizes bountifully for misconception their sentiments and says that they ought to go out on the town together so they can develop significantly nearer as darlings. As is standard in harem animes, they choose to go to an underground aquifer. The three darlings go out looking for the natural aquifer date, with Rika furtively following them. Fortunately, she doesn't have to haul around any shopping sacks, since she as of now has a tremendous rag. Nagisa concludes that once they get to the underground aquifer, she will assist Saki with kissing Mukai first. Rika and Shino both ultimately find out about the natural aquifer date, and both arrangement to meddle, yet for various reasons. Rika needs to take Mukai away from the young ladies, while Shino simply is curious as to whether Mukai is genuinely double-crossing her closest companion. When they show up at the natural aquifer's, Miyuki snatches both of his sweetheart's hands and holds them gladly regardless of the inquisitive looks from the horde of spectators. When they show up at the inn, the triplet is shocked by Rika jumping out of a shrub. Shino shows up with her very own snare, and when she sees Nagisa there with them, she affirms that Saki is to be sure being double-crossed. Yet Nagisa extorts Rika into imagining she accompanied her and not with Mukai. Nagisa later messages Mukai to let him know that she'll keep Rika occupied so he can partake in some quality time alone with Saki. He says this is unsuitable and stumbles into the roofs to reach Nagisa, where he advises her that he would rather not partake in this excursion without her. Yet Nagisa won't go along with them. She needs to help Saki and give her some alone time with Mukai. Yet when Nagisa takes off, Rika is the person who truly winds up alone with him, but instead than play with Mukai, she understands that maybe a superior way to his heart is for them to get to realize each other on an additional individual level. They talk for a brief period, and she gets some information about his leisure activities and dreams and falls more enamored with him with each answer. The discussion is removed short when her towel falls and Mukai escapes while washing with Saki. Nagisa makes sense of that. Whenever she first saw Mukai, she in a flash fell head over heels for him and gave herself to turning into his ideal lady. That is the reason she will successfully be with him regardless of whether it implies allowing Saki to kiss him first. Mukai hears this discussion despite the fact that the stars have aligned just right. A mysterious he defies Nagisa about this and advises her that she wants to quit keeping herself down. Nagisa unexpectedly takes off with Saki and Mukai pursuing her. Rika and Shino haphazardly see them run past and choose to jump into the pursuit. While running, Nagisa demands that the main way for their relationship to work is if Mukai focuses on Saki and Nagisa permits herself to be second best. In the meantime, the three different young ladies fall back from fatigue, so Nagisa and Mukai go on without them. He at last gets up to speed to her and concedes that their relationship is surprising and convoluted, yet he tells her that she can't keep herself down any longer and that anything that issues happen, they'll sort it out together. When the others get up to speed, Nagisa kisses Mukai on the cheek before Shino and the others. She then gladly declares that she is likewise Mukai's better half. Saki asks Nagisa if she truly has any desire to contend to be Mukai's main young lady, and Nagisa says okay, so she advises her to ready and waiting, and afterward goes to Shino to admit that Mukai genuinely is two-timing them. They take off from Shino and Rika and use whatever might remain of their natural aquifer date, washing together, eating together, and, surprisingly, dozing along with Nagisa not keeping down any more potato after the excursion. Mukai, Rika, Nagisa, and Saki all revisitation of their typical trick updated existence, with Shino now likewise joining on the disarray, and with that closes the story. Thanks for watching my video. Please like and subscribe to Any Pluto.